it's a sense of where you belong in a sociological sense, what your heritage is, who your forebears were, where they came from, what they did. We grew up from the earliest age wearing a kilt and was always very comfortable in a kilt.
I wore the kilt far more than trousers when I was very young, far more. I played golf in the kilt, I went to school in the kilt, and I lived in the kilt.
Fighting it furiously as my mother forced me into at age 3 or 4. I remember going to my first school dance, aged about 13, wearing the kilt, and it worked, and it kept me dangerous for a few years.
There's much debate which still goes on as to the origins of tartans, because as they were basically outlawed for 70 years, they had to be reinvented. There were marvellous stories about tartans being dug up in the peat bogs of the Highlands and the authentic natural vegetable dyes being reintroduced and so on. Mine is actually a weathered, Monroe weathered tartan, but there's also a hunting version, there's a dress version, and that's quite normal in family names in Scotland.
My tartan is the cummin. We're a sept, that's a part of a clan of, I'm Buchan, that's my part of my name, Buchan.
Your shoes are definitely more appropriate than mine are today, no question, and I love your diced toes.
Oh, that's kind.
The term argyle has become used, so to speak, in terms of anything that has a diced pattern on it, but hosiery, such as Sir Alice is wearing. All the Scottish regiments were outfitted with hosiery that matched the kilts. And my great-grandfather was faced with a dilemma. The War Department's contract suddenly ceased to exist. So they took the machinery that they had been making hosiery on, and they made fronts for sweaters.
I was a little bit sorry to see a denim kilt and a leather kilt. In a sense, it's a pity, because it is starting to edge away from the normal wearing of the kilt, and I hope it's reversed. No, I asked them why you're doing it, and he said, can I afford anything else? Fair enough. If that was the case, at least it's a step in the right direction.
Make space for multiple truths. We've all come from different places, and don't fall out of these multiple truths. Try and get the multiple truths working on a common goal that gets you working together. I
went into the loo, and the chap next door to me said, "Are you sure? I don't think that you should be in here at all," looking at my kilt, as if I was a girl. And I said, "I think I have to educate you somewhat." And he said, "Don't bother." But it was quite extraordinary to say that to anybody looking at a kilt. It was the lack of knowledge as to what our native custom is.
In the First World War, the Scottish residents were referred to, because they wore kilts, as the ladies from hell.
That's right, or the fairies. I heard them as the fairies from hell.
It is an expression of national pride, and as such, people died in Scotland during the rebellion of 1745 for essentially wearing tartan and expressing their nationalism.
Yeah, I think it's this thing of being connected. I think we all look to be connected, and I think the kilt does that.
So it all sort of ties together to give one a sense of belonging, and the Scots, I think, are particularly interested in that. But it all comes back to one essential thing, I think, which is the extraordinary pride there is in our heritage and in our national dress.